Hey, world. This is Ben Willie. Come back live. Wait a couple of minutes here. I'm looking over here to my left over here. Looking at all that red on the screen right now. What's going on out there, family? It says being willing to come back with another live. I'm just looking over here at Bloomberg, looking at the screen, looking at all that red over there. Man. And it's so funny, man, because when you do your research and you're able to read the charts and kind of find out, actually, like kind of increase your financial literacy, you look at that, it's pretty encouraging. All right. So, Phil, I want to kind of get into a couple of things tonight, about 35, 45 minutes, because I think it's important that we understand the history of some of the things that are really going on today. And cognitive dissonance can run rampant in a community if you're not really on top of like the true facts. And how can you not be on top of true facts is when you start following like fake actors. When you're distracted from a lot of different things that keep your mind not focused on what you should be focused on. And I want to get in tonight this heartbeat bill. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that heartbeat bill is actually a bill that's trying to be passed federally. Right now, it's certain states that's kind of passing it, and it's basically the anti-abortion bill, where Congress, state Congress is first, but of course they're trying to make it federal, where the heartbeat bill is a bill that would eliminate any abortions after a heartbeat is detected in a baby. Well, I'm gonna say a baby, but inside a living being. All right, and that's the heartbeat bill. And so right now, you have a couple of states that have already passed it, and like for instance, Georgia. I don't know if you guys remember what's going on in Georgia, but Georgia has passed that heartbeat bill where if the heartbeat is detected, then you cannot have an abortion. Okay, and so that's why you had fake actors and fake actresses go to Georgia to protest that, because they're saying that hey, you shouldn't be able to tell a woman what she can do with her body. She can be, just because it's a heartbeat bill passed, you can't tell a woman what she can do with her body. Okay, that was in Georgia. Well, now in Missouri just passed a bill, and that particular bill was called House Bill 126. And the House Bill 126, they've outlawed all abortion clinics. So you cannot have an abortion in Missouri. All right. Other states are Kentucky, I think Mississippi, Georgia, of course Georgia, and like 3 other states have passed this bill, like it's called House Bill 126, where they are, no abortion clinics can be operating in that state. All right. So I guess any Planned Parenthoods that are still operate in the state of Missouri or Mississippi or Kentucky or North Dakota, then it has to be only sex education classes and what they call birth control methods, preventive birth control methods. Okay, now it's crazy because the heartbeat rule is subjective, because that's no abortions. Okay, from 6 weeks, I think starting at 6 weeks to 3 months. So that's between the time that they're saying, right? And what I want to ask you guys out there right now is, what's your opinion on it? I'd like to know. Let me get into it, see who's in the house, right? Who's in the garden? Abner. Do you know about high ticket closing? Let me get into that. DG, Minnesota in the house. A program offered by Dan Logan. Oh, hey, I listen to Dan Logan. Let me look into that. Okay. Ella, how you doing? Okay. Khadija, okay. They still protesting up there in Atlanta, huh? In ATL, they still protesting. Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, it's crazy because, like I said, this whole notion, and we're gonna get into it, but I kind of wanted to kind of get some facts out there as far as what's actually going on. And like Khadija said, they still protesting in Atlanta. All right. And now remember, these are people from Hollywood coming to Atlanta to protest. And I've seen a story on the wire where Disney is threatening Georgia to not make movies in Georgia anymore because of the heartbeat rule. Okay. And so, you know, how you guys feel about that? Okay. I mean, it's interesting because I don't remember, and I know that, you know, they protest, you know, the death penalty. Okay. You don't want killers, you know, rapists and the most heinous acting people in society to be killed on the death penalty. You don't want that. But you cool with, you know, women having the right to kill their babies. Now, I'm only on, like I said, I'm non-objective because this is a pretty polarizing subject. But see, I think what we don't understand is we didn't create this. Okay? Netflix is threatening to leave. I mean, come on, man. We didn't create this. And that's what I want to get into. I mean, remember, abortion didn't become legal in the United States until 1973. Okay? And guys, I don't know if you're familiar with the Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decision, but it became legal in 1973. Now, if you look at the Supreme Court judges or Supreme Court justices in 1973, voting on this, all men, all right? So all men made abortions legal. But then you got to ask yourself, okay, how do they feel now? How do the Supreme Court justices feel now? Well, right now, the female that's on the Supreme Court justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's like 1,000 years old. She says that a woman is not a mother while she's pregnant. You're only a mother once the baby's born. Now, she wrote that law, okay, and she got a 7-2 vote in her favor to say that women are not mothers until birth. But do you understand the hypocrisy on that? How can women not be mothers until birth when if someone kills a woman that's pregnant, that's to death? Okay? Of course. Okay. Of course, Khadija. Now, Abner, you said you can make a lot of money being a high ticket closer for small and medium sized companies. Yeah, hey, but see that's risk. You know what I mean? That's a lot of risk involved, and of course, you know, you have to have the capital to make money. So, Abner, I'm gonna look into that, and I'll come back with some information on that one. All right, I'll come back with some information on that one. But you know, what I written, and I digress. What I written. Also, too, on that whole particular situation, I only was going into that particular situation, family, to talk about the real reason why this is even a issue. All right? Like I said, only reason this is an issue is because if you check the mortality rate and the birth rates on Caucasians and Europeans, you'll see that there's a big discrepancy. You know, there are more Caucasians and European Caucasians dying than having babies. So this whole notion that this anti-abortion law is passed for the good of all people or for the good of all Americans, you know, for good of all women, we know that's not true. This is basically a situation where You know, they have to try to do something about the mortality rate. All right. See the numbers that you guys are being given are not the accurate numbers about the demographic changes in America. See, this isn't really about abortions. This is about, you know, survival. And if you look at the mortality rate of Caucasians and European Caucasians, you know, it's a discrepancy. There's been more dying than having babies since the 90s. See, they've been taking these this data for years. All right. And how you say, well, Bean, why you say it's hypocrisy? Why you say it's you know, you don't think that they really actually just don't want babies being killed? No, it's not that. It's certain babies. Because you got to realize the whole notion of having abortion clinics in a Planned Parenthood setting, that alone is an oxymoron. Planned Parenthood and abortions in the same location. That should have told you something right there, that, you know, something was fishy. Okay? If anything, instead of the abortion aspect of it, you know, in Planned Parenthood, if someone, you know, gets pregnant, you don't think you would go to a Planned Parenthood location for something like that. So that alone tells you that it wasn't about that. And if you look at the locations of these particular facilities and where they was located, that tells you that it really wasn't, you know, this humanitarian objective that a lot of people thought. And it's not until now that this whole anti-abortion agenda is being pushed, because since the 90s, you know, the mortality rate has changed, has flipped, has inverted. So you have more Caucasians dying than having babies. See, and it's kind of like, and I don't believe in karma. I don't get into that. But I can tell you that when you live long enough, you just see the things change based on humanity, right? So Margaret Sanger, if you look at the title of the videos, I talked about Margaret Sanger and eugenics. Remember, family, Margaret Sanger is the one who actually initiated the whole Planned Parenthood agenda. Okay, let me get into this right quick. DG, Margaret Sanger wanted all babies of color aborted. Now, and see, and I want to piggyback on that comment, because see, a lot of times people think that, you know, well, how you know that? Well, because Margaret Sanger was the one that initiated and started Planned Parenthood in the United States, focusing on urban communities. You know, he had a lot of the clinics in Harlem. The first couple of clinics started in Harlem, okay? And she did it under the guise of, you know, women's rights. You know, women should have the right to be able to do what they want to do with their bodies if they get pregnant. No, I mean, so that was the quote unquote humanitarian aspect that they try to push. But if you delve back and then you peel back the layers of the onion, you'll see that actually Margaret Sanger was a eugenist. And a eugenist was someone who wanted to eliminate or stop the reproduction of particular races that was felt to be inferior, i.e. Adolf Hitler's mindset when it came to the Jews during World War II. And Margaret Sanger, you know, wrote a letter. And in this letter, back in 1939, she wrote a letter, and the letter said that, you know, we need to make sure that the people of color, Black people, didn't know the real reason behind why we started Planned Parenthood. Okay, and so who did she specifically target? She specifically targeted the pastors. All right, because she told the pastors to tell the congregations that Planned Parenthood was a good thing. Okay, and to dispel all the community's suspicions about it. So right there, it tells you that the community, you know, the Afro-Melanated communities already has suspicions about it. And so who did she use, or who did she try to target to spread the message about the Planned Parenthood? Pastors. You did? And so what did she do? There was a situation where she targeted the Black community. All right? And she wrote a letter. And in this letter she wrote, family, I just want to go ahead and specifically tell you about it, what she said in this letter. In the letter, she said, we need to make sure that we target black women, because see, black women who lived in poverty back then had limited access to health care. And with them having limited access to health care, they were more vulnerable to the effects of unplanned pregnancies. That's what Margaret Sanger said in the letter. This was back in 1939, all right? So, and my question to the family is, what does she mean that black women were more vulnerable to the effects? What are the effects of being pregnant? What are you talking about? And how do you know that in our community that when a woman got pregnant, she didn't want to get pregnant? I mean, that's, you know what I mean? That's going into the notion where she's trying to imply that every black woman that got pregnant didn't want to get pregnant, or it was always rape, or always incest. See, and that's the implication. But if Margaret Sanger really was for the benefit and the empowerment of women, the objective of Planned Parenthood wouldn't be to have women have the choice of aborting their babies, but giving women the resources necessary to help them. I mean, even her letter, she says, you know, we want to target black women because they had limited access to health care. Okay, well, instead of you paying doctors to kill babies, then why not pay, you know, social workers? Why not make sure you have monies available to help the women and help the children? See, because from her standpoint or her mindset, it's like every woman that got pregnant in the black community didn't want to have a baby. Now that is the tricky. That's the tricky part. See, that's why I said this language thing is funny. It's tricky. That is to try to make sure that she's not looked at in that type of way. No, I just want to look out for the black women because they don't have access to health care, and you know they're more vulnerable to unplanned pregnancies. What are you talking about? And of course, like DG says, Hillary Clinton loved her. Matter of fact, Hillary Clinton received the Margaret Sanger Award, right? And so Margaret Sanger was a eugenist. The whole Planned Parenthood scenario was to place these facilities in black neighborhoods so that they can monitor or kind of reduce the number of babies of the Afro-melanated status were born. Okay. Now, isn't it kind of ironic now that they're passing these laws, these anti-abortion laws, to stop abortions? And I'm telling you right now, if Missouri passed a law right now, which is House Bill 126, that there are no abortions in Missouri. Now, the governor of California, he just said, if you want to have an abortion, come to California. Now, Kawhi, what governor would say that? You the leader of a state, and that's what you say? You did? So if it started, it's just like marijuana. It was legal in California first. Now it's legal in many, many states, and eventually it's going to be federally legal. It's just like this. And you ask yourself, why? Because of the mortality rate and the discrepancy in the mortality rate. Here and in Europe. Why do you think they're having Brexit in Europe right now, in England? Brexit is pretty much another way of they're trying to survive. Brexit is London and England and the European countries, especially London, United Kingdom, UK, breaking off from the European Union. Why? Because while they're with the European Union, and what's the European Union, family? The European Union is a coalition of all the European countries over there. And why did they come together? So they can kind of interact with trade and make sure that no one country in Europe is more powerful than the other one. And they kind of make sure to kind of eliminate the risk of war, right? Kind of like over here in the West where you have Canada, United States, and Mexico. The United States-Mexico-Canadian Agreement, the USMCA. It's kind of like that. That's what the EU is. But England wants to break away from that. UK wants to break away from that. Why? Because of the mortality rate. What's going on in England and Europe right now? There's been a mass migration of Muslims into the country. Okay, and so that's the whole reason why England and the UK want to break away from Brexit, break away from the European Union, because in about two to 5 years, you're not going to be able to go to the UK without a passport or without some type of work permit. See, right now, as long as you are part of the European Union, you can go to the UK. They're going to cut that off. What's up, Al? They're going to cut that off. And it's the same reason in America that this anti-abortion law is about to be a federal law. And it's the same reason in America why Trump is so adamant about shutting that border off. Listen, you guys don't understand, the numbers are real. And if you do the research, you'll see that the mortality rate to birth rate, there is a huge discrepancy. Jennifer, I thought we are overpopulated. No, it ain't about overpopulation. Because remember, do your research. Find out where most of these abortion clinics are located. Like the Planned Parenthoods are located. So it's not about overpopulation, them trying to kill, or them trying to stop the killing of people for depopulation. The whole depopulation agenda isn't about depopulation. It's really about survival. Okay, and depopulation comes from, just look at the statistics. They already know that our diet. I mean, look at the number of people that die from cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes. So they are already doing a great job of just killing people like that. No, abortions were not created for depopulation purposes. Abortions were created to stagnate the melanated community's population, but it was not intended for that to milk over into the Caucasian community, because in actuality, it really haven't. You dig? But when you look at the suicide rate, when you look at the baby boomers, the Caucasian number of baby boomers, okay? When you look at LGBTQ, and like I said, this is not to diss you guys. What this is to let you know that if you that, then you're not actually producing babies per se. That will dig into that mortality rate, okay, and the birth rate, and then the low birth rate. So you have four particular categories. Okay, the suicide rate. Okay, that baby boomers that are sick right now, that they're not going to be around long. The LGBT community, and then just the natural low birth rates of Caucasians. Day free, of course. And that suicide rate would be that opioid crisis. All right, and so this is like desperation. We have to stop this, because if not, the mortality rate to birth rate is going to be off the chart. I mean, it's already off the charts right now. Remember, they started taking this research back in the 1990s, and they realized that things were changing. And so don't get it twisted, guys. A lot of things that you think going on for just like generalistic reasons. No, it's always a method to the madness. It's always an objective to why things are being done. Okay. So when you look at House Bill 126, hey, passed in Missouri and 6 other states, and then of course you got the heartbeat rule, and then Ruth Bader Ginsburg saying that a woman is not a mother till birth. She's got to get out of there, because she's not on the objective. So I don't look at her being around long. You dig? So that's all I want to do. So I want to come back with a little information, and like I said, give you also a little information on Brexit, because like I said, all Brexit is UK breaking away from European Union, from that whole group. And I promise you, they're not just breaking away for the reason you think they're breaking away from. They're breaking away because, I mean, think about what's going on in London like the last 4 or 5 years. You're hearing about those bombings, those stabbings, all that kind of stuff. and the Muslim community is rising in London, in England. That's what Brexit is about. Let's not get it twisted. All right, Brexit is another immigration policy. And if you look at who, because they just Theresa May, she just got out of there. And if you look at what's happening, who they're going to pick for the person that replace Theresa May, is going to be a person that says that's pro-Brexit. All right. So that's all I want to do. I'm going to come back with a little information on that and just kind of see how you guys thought about that. If you didn't get a chance to stay on it, check me out live in the garden. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You get a chance to check it out now. Check it out later. And in the meantime, between time, in the Most High inside, bring you joy. And make sure you pay yourself first. Because remember, I look over to the left. It's all red. The Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the FTSE, which is England's Wall Street market. So pay yourself first, family. All right, in the meantime, between time, may the Most High inside, bring you joy, being what is out of 5,000.